I want to ask you about monetization. And you said you guys are doing something on Deep Pocket Monster and get into some rapid fire after that. What's your thoughts on that? Is it changing now to where YouTube actually does pay and not necessarily just through AdSense? And, what's your guys' thoughts? And then what are you guys doing to, monetize on your channel?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, with the long form stuff, really long videos, AdSense can be great, especially if you get a lot of views, because you could fit a lot of mid rolls in there, right? And now YouTube's just automatically putting those in. For the longest time, I just only did manual because I didn't trust YouTube putting things, ads in places that I didn't want them. And so I used to go through and like manually select, especially when you do storytelling. It's like I wanted stuff to be manually selected where I want. But now that YouTube is a little bit more intuitive with the AI picking spots, and you're not even allowed to kind of put your stuff where you want without that deciding if it's interruptive or not. I just said, all right, I'm just going to let YouTube do it. And it's been great. I've not had any issues with that. And obviously, depending on your niche and your content, if you've got a lot of views and you've got a high RPM, you can make good money there on the AdSense. And then brand deals, obviously, that's always going to be a great thing. Sponsorships that you could bring in, no matter what, no matter what industry or no matter what your views are. It's more relative to the types of content that you're making and the audience size. That there would be companies that want to sponsor or get themselves in front of you, and I think there's a lot of creative ways to do that as well. That don't necessarily just have to be a 30-second spot. We've been trying to find ways to
I don't think it should anymore.
Yeah. It just becomes skippable. It's just like and now with that little like jump ahead button that YouTube has, I love that button, even though
everyone loves that button.
I know we don't want to say it as creators, right? We want to be like, oh, like that was such a no one why that shouldn't be there, right? It's like, no, I think it's a great thing because I use it all the time when I'm skipping over people's ads that I don't care about, right? But that should show us like, hey, we need to figure out a different way and work with companies that are willing to work with you, right? And like we find ways to integrate into the story our sponsor, and it ultimately gives them a bigger win, and it's watchable for our audience. So a lot of our videos, we try to find ways to say, all right, if you're going to sponsor this video, we need to have it integrated in some way. And why? Maybe we need to educate them a little bit and just be like, you are going to get a much better response, and more likely they're going to go to your page or go to your, website or your sales funnel, whatever, if you're integrated in this video to where they actually care to watch this stuff, right? So we'll do it where it's like, hey, they're going to send some packs. It's going to go to something. We did one where they sent mystery packs that Pat had to hand out. It became part of the challenge, and he had to hand out 30 of them, which meant he had to do 30 trades, right? So that became an element of the challenge. So he couldn't just buy his way through the challenge. He needed to at least do 30 trades in his challenge. So that added this storytelling element. It added another storyline that could be added in there. So don't be afraid to be creative with potential sponsors or brand deals that you can have, because I think that could then become even more useful for a story, or what I like to call A-B storyline.
Yes.
Where you have like your main storyline, but then you also have this other storyline that's kind of underlying that also helps a viewer who's maybe watching a long video, who maybe gets bored of the initial storyline, but the second storyline keeps them hooked, and then they come back to the original storyline. So it's this back and forth. You could literally use a sponsor for that. That's great. Like that's a great way to use that.
Smart.
And then of course, selling your own merchandise is another way, or events. We've been doing events. We have Card Party, right? That's just another way to do it.
Can you give an example of how you guys have done that, the AB storyline with a brand, for example? Are you able to share something about that?
Yeah, well, like just like that, where it was another one outside of the one with the packs was Pat was going to complete a set. This was in the summer, base set 2, and he met with his with a company called TCG Stadium that we work with, and we had him with the owner in the warehouse, and he was touring the warehouse and everything. And he told Pat, hey, if you can complete this set in 24 hours or 48 hours, if you can complete the set in 48 hours, I will give away, I will buy and give away 100 of your books, Pat's book, his new book, to 100 people in your audience. Right. So now it was the sponsor setting off the challenge.
Kind of like his son did in the original challenge video. But in this case, it's the sponsor who's the one that frames the whole challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, cool. So now if Pat loses, someone might win the binder. But if he wins, the audience might win 100 of Pat's books. So there's 100 people that might get a chance. Then 24 hours into the challenge, he gets a FaceTime from the sponsor while he's driving in the car. And the sponsor's like, hey, how's it going? Pat's saying how things are. And he goes, okay, cool. Well, hey, I want to up it. If you win, not only will I do the 100 books, I will also include a pack of Pokemon cards with that book for every person. So now it's a book and a pack of Pokemon cards.
You've raised the stakes at that point.
It raised it to even bigger. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to do it now. Because now it's not just a selfish, you got my book. It's now you're also getting a pack of Pokemon cards for free, which happen to be pretty expensive right now. Right. So like that creates this B story. So like the A storyline is like, hey, I got to complete this challenge. But now there's this like B storyline of, is he going to be able to, like, is the sponsor going to pull through with this? It's going to happen, or is Pat going to end up having to pay for all this? Like stuff like that comes that. The other one was the sponsor was giving 30 mystery envelopes. And so Pat had to complete a challenge anyway. He was completing a challenge in 24 hours. But 30 exchanges had to be via trades, couldn't be purchased, because every time he trades with someone, he has to give them this mystery envelope. So like that's now this B storyline of, all right, is he going to get all these? Because if he completes the challenge before he does 30 trades, that he loses, right? So now there's this other element of being able to include a story with your sponsor. And I think there's so many, that's a complex way of doing it, but there could be smaller ways to be able to do this. It doesn't have to be that complex. We have to do it complex because of the story, but it could be very simple, some little thing. For us, I always like to look at things as roadblocks, because roadblocks are like the classic way of telling a story. The real simple way is send your main character up a tree, poke him with the stick, and take him out of the tree. Right. So that poking with the stick is the roadblocks, the pain points, the things that happen along the way that most of us would probably cut out and go, okay, I don't want to show like this thing, but I did my talk recently at VidSummit, and someone said like, oh, hey, I have a channel that's like about crabbing or something. And it's like, I want to like, how can I include stories? And I'm like, you probably have so many stories and you probably don't even realize it. It's because the things that are most relatable are the things where maybe you went out and nothing worked that day. Like everything was just failing, and like your stuff was all tangled up, and I don't know how crabbing works and all this stuff. But like, you think about like all the different pain points that happen along that way that maybe you'd cut out because you feel like, I don't want anyone to see this. But those could be particular important story points. And those could also be story points for you and a sponsor, right? Because it could be like, hey, I'm notoriously tangle all these things. And now we've got this sponsor who helps me. Like I never get tangled like this anymore, right? So it's this little story spot of how it works without it feeling like an ad or a 30-second spot that can go. But you're leaning into these points that are very relatable, leaning into things where it's not me, the expert that's so good at everything. It's me, the human who fails, and here's the areas I fail and how I've failed and how hard it is, but I'm going to keep trying to achieve this thing. And here's the people that have come along the way, and those people could be sponsors, but if we view them as people and we talk about them like people as opposed to businesses that are trying to take your money, then we kind of can, it's a little different. So
it's almost like you're putting a face and identity to the brand versus a brand interrupting the flow of your face and your like identity.
It sets them up as characters, basically, in the story, right? It gives them a purpose for being there rather than something that's interrupting the story overall. It actually makes this video more interesting because it's an additional challenge that Pat has to take on, which brings me actually to something else that maybe I heard about, which is that I think you guys are doing new merch as well. So that's another revenue line, right, that you talk about. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing there? Because it sounds like it's another thing that's innovative that you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a little while, and I'm so excited it's finally been launched. It's this shirt that I'm wearing right here, SIOIO which is the short form channel. It's the should I open it or should I keep it sealed?
That's cool.
I love that.
Right? Yeah. So this is like Pat really likes like the college kind of look, like acronym kind of thing. And so we've been doing that channel. He's been doing super successful, very, very viral kind of short form stuff. And it's, opening different packs, mostly Pokemon, sometimes some other things of, should I open or should I keep it sealed? And we're always talking when we're in the car and stuff. We're always thinking about like different things, and we're always just like ideating, right? Thinking about whatever. And it was like, well, what if there was like a shirt, just like a should I open it or should I keep it sealed shirt? SIOIOSKS. Okay, cool. But what if the bag it came in, you actually get to play the game?
Wow.
So the shirt is this. This is the base shirt. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on the back, it says like oh no, you should have kept it sealed. That's the
smart.
base shirt.
That's smart.
So this is like,
There's a little Willy
150
Wonka in there to some degree.
Yes. So this is the bag. So you get the bag. It's got Pat's thumbs on it.
Diglets.
Yes, his little Diglets. So this is the bag. Should I open it? Should I keep it sealed? Right. And so you have a 1 in 50 chance of pulling a Chase shirt. So then there's the black and gold, I think it is, that on the back it'll say, wow, you actually got something good. And then there's going to be a few others that are all different colors. There's like a red, a purple, a blue, and Pat actually signed them. And do I have one on me? There's a coin that comes with this as well. Yeah. And it's one side, it says open it, and the other side is keep it sealed. Right.
That.
So it's like, if you're opening a pack or whatever, you can have this coin, flip the coin, and it makes the decision for you on if you should open your pack or keep it sealed. And so at least this first wave came with them. I don't know if other waves will come with it. We're actually, I believe it's like nearly sold out on this first wave of doing it. And all it was a community post. We always give to our members first, our YouTube members, the Gem Mint Club. They always kind of get first dibs at it. So they were the first ones it was announced to in a community post and in our Discord that's members only. And huge portion of it sold from that. And then all he did from there was mention it at the back end of a single short a couple days later. And that's it, in order for it to almost all sell out of the first wave. So I know that second wave is coming at some point. I don't know. Pat knows all the details on that. But we wanted to think of like what could be one with merch. I like the idea of limited drops because it makes it more exclusive. It makes it more like, hey, there's something like fun here to do. But also like it makes it a game. Like we gamified it to be like, hey, it's not some kind of crazy odds. It's not some kind of like crazy collector shirt. It's just like a fun way to be able to play the game yourself. So like if you could think about your merch in interesting ways and then find someone who can create that for you and with you. I mean, we work with Product and TFN and they're great guys.
Yeah.
And like to be able to pull off something like this is just, it's fun. So it makes it unique, and trying to think of a unique angle for your merchandise, trying to think of it like how do we put something fun out there for our audience instead of just like we've done a lot of the logo shirts and all that kind of stuff, but what can we do that's beyond that, knowing who our audience is a collector audience, so we need to make stuff with that in mind.
Smart.
Right? So that's why we go that way.
The big takeaway both on brand deals and merch is don't do it like we've done it forever. It doesn't work because it's been done. It's kind of similar to content. What's novel and new is what's going to be different and also interesting.
And also what's aligned with your audience.
Exactly. And so you guys are just so smart. I also do that whole thing with brand deals now. I have it as part of the creative. So I just worked with an appliance company, and rather than just say, hey, this appliance is awesome, and it's just like one spot, I actually said, hey, it's an appliance that like, it's just like a smart kitchen robot. I feel like a commercial right now. And it does all kinds of different functions. And what I said was like, I'm a dad cooking for my girls. My wife is away, and all my meals are going to be cooked with this machine. I don't even force it either. Like sometimes I'm cooking a meal and that's just like, like a side dish. In one case, I didn't even mention I'm using it. It's just like in the content itself. And then there's a whole segment where I do more of the traditional like sponsor spot. So whether it's merch or brand deals, you got to do that.